Picture this. You're driving down the road, a deer jumps out from the brush, and a second later, you find yourself off the road in a ditch. This type of incident is called a roadway departure. A roadway departure happens when a vehicle leaves the travel lane, enters the shoulder, or crosses the center line or median, sometimes leading to a crash. Did you know that roadway departures are the #1 type of fatal crash in Iowa? Many roadway departures happen on Iowa's 2-lane rural roads. These roads often have narrow shoulders, steep ditches, and 55-mile-per-hour speeds, all factors that increase the risk of vehicles leaving the roadway and leading to potential crashes. In Iowa, more than 75% of fatal crashes on rural roads are from roadway departures. About every 3 days, a loved one won't make it home because of this type of crash. Let's look a little closer at how these crashes happen and how you can avoid them. Roadway departures often result in head-on collisions, rollovers, or crashes into something off the roadway. And these incidents don't just apply to cars and trucks. Other vehicles like UTVs and motorcycles are also involved in roadway departures. When these vehicles are traveling at higher speeds, it's even more challenging or not possible to recover due to tires and design. So how do these incidents happen? The causes vary, but there are multiple circumstances that frequently contribute to roadway departures. One common factor is curved roads, with more than 1 in 4 fatal crashes happening on curves. Other common causes that lead to roadway departures are vehicles turning to or from intersecting roadways or driveways, farm equipment or other unexpected vehicles on or entering the roadway, and animals in the roadway. Of course, driver behavior is a factor too. Things like driving too fast, driving distracted, impaired or drowsy driving, and lastly, not knowing how to safely recover from a roadway departure. So how can you help avoid roadway departures? It's pretty simple. Buckle up, slow down, drive sober, and pay attention. The Iowa Department of Transportation, counties, and cities are all taking steps to help too. We're installing wider pavement marking lines, paving shoulders to help drivers stay on the road by giving them more room to safely adjust, installing rumble strips on the right side of the lane and in the center of the road to alert drivers when they've drifted out of their lane, applying friction treatments to provide safer roadway surfaces, and adding speed limit and warning signs. We're also adding features alongside roadways to help with recovery when roadway departures do occur, like creating clear zones for safer stopping or to regain control if a roadway departure occurs, building safety edge treatments to make roadways more recoverable when and where possible, and installing guardrail to prevent roadway departures where needed. So to wrap up, if you do experience a roadway departure, slow down, stay calm, and don't jerk the wheel. When it's safe to do so, gently steer back onto the roadway. And remember to always stay safe. You know what that means. Buckle up, slow down, drive sober, and pay attention. Your safety on Iowa roads matters, and getting to your destination safely depends on all of us doing our part.